Weather Wagers is back. Another exciting weekend. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Yes, we do. Brett Thackeray here.
Hello, and I'm Dan Tomaso, merely Dan Tomaso, not a coaching candidate in the carousel, though, boy, I wish I was.
It just keeps on spinning, and, I just thought of something. We had news break last night. We're going to get into that as well. In addition to everything on my little rundown here, we have a lot to discuss, and you can always find Weather Wagers wherever you get your content, and there's so many places to get it. Apple Podcasts, that's the big one. Spotify as well. Amazon Music. YouTube, we've got some viewers on there. ABC27.com, of course, and the new ABC 27 Plus app on your smart TV device. We are everywhere you want to be. Let's get into it, Daniel. We really do have a lot to talk about, including Penn State finally has a coach. We were starting to get nervous last week when Penn State thought they had Kalani Sitake. He stayed at BYU. We had the whole crumble cookie memes that came about on Twitter. And then
boxes of cookies being delivered to the athletic department. I mean, that's ultimate trolling.
I mean, there's no other sport like college football. We say it all the time. But meanwhile, at the 11th hour, Penn State and Pat Kraft got their act together, and they hired one of the best coaches in the cycle, and a coach that realistically Penn State probably should have started with. I think it's very tough to expect one of these so-called home run hires like a Marcus Freeman or a Kalen DeBoer to up and leave their playoff team if they aren't named Lane Kiffin. The calendar becomes a challenge.
What playoff team with Marcus Freeman?
Well, hold on. We're going to get into that.
I had to say it.
Yep, we're going to get into that. But you know what my point is.
Yes, I do.
If you're in the playoff, a lot of these big names are not going to just up and leave their team. Kiffin, of course, being a unique situation, but Matt Campbell has long been out there. He's sort of been the fish that nobody could hook, and finally Penn State got him to move to one of the better jobs in the Big Ten and leaving Iowa State behind. So what are your thoughts on this hire? We've seen the press conference. We're seeing the staffing changes commence. Just talk to me about Matt Campbell, who is the winningest coach in Iowa State history, has won some top 10 games, has won 11 games there, and has been in Big 12 title chases. Your thoughts overall on Matt Campbell getting this job?
Overall, a fine hire. I would say fine. Not what I fully expected when this whole thing started out. And, Penn State can spin this any way they want, that they couldn't get a hold of him or there was a communication failure. Fact of the matter is he wasn't in the initial search. Now, I think this is a better outcome than bringing in a coach from the BYU culture that I think that would have been very tough to assimilate, different recruiting grounds. At least Matt Campbell and his staff recruited the Ohio Valley and recruited the Mid-Atlantic. Now, albeit it was with Toledo, so this is a totally different ballgame. But I think that's where my trepidation, my cynical nature kind of kicks in, because I don't want to rebuild. I don't want someone learning on the job. And my fear with this is Iowa State is one of the worst P4 jobs right now. And so the bar is really, really low there. The bar is really, really, really high at Penn State right now. And I think we as fans should expect a pretty quick success turning point now. This is supposedly the guy. This guy knows X's and O's, supposedly. He does win in the Big 12. I need to see it. I can listen to all the hype. I can listen to all the press conferences. He won the press conference. He seems like a genuine, nice human being. Well, a good leader.
Listen, but Dan, I mean, you're right, because we said that before this season.
Yes.
We had a Penn State program that was number 2 in the country. We had some media members, local and national, picking Penn State to make the national championship game. And you and I said on this podcast, listen, we want to be positive. We want to believe it. But A, we've had wide receiver issues. Mm-hmm. You don't know if the portal guys are going to fix that overnight. They didn't. We had a quarterback who was good but had some issues. Clearly, that continued this year.
Trouble getting the ball down the field, which is a problem for a quarterback.
We had a new defensive coordinator that we were told took several years to get his system in place. That clearly showed. Now, we had injuries, Tony Rojas being out also attributed to that, but you don't know what's going to happen during the course of the season. And as bought in as so many people were on Penn State, and I get it, we made the semifinals the previous year, and we returned everybody. We followed that Ohio State
progression.
Progression. We followed the Michigan way to do it. But the reality of it was this team still had some holes. I didn't expect what we didn't know, and this happens too, just things that come up. We didn't expect the O-line to regress.
Yeah.
And they did. And so it just was if there's any more proof that sometimes you need to see something, it was Penn State's 2025 season.
And here's the biggest thing of all. Because of the timing of this, we had 2 signees for National Signing Day. Now, some people say that's not a huge deal, but to me, Matt Campbell's saying he needs to recruit and build this thing through high school recruiting. Well, he's behind the 8 ball already with that, and it's not his fault.
No, it's
so
not.
That's a hole to dig out of.
Yeah.
Supposedly we have money to buy players in the portal. Again, we've seen that can work. It might not work. In an interview he did with Josh Pate, he doesn't seem like he's going to be a big portal guy overall. Maybe we have to in the beginning, but that doesn't seem to be his mantra. So to me,
I think that's Pat Kraft's mantra.
Right. So to me, I just had a lot of deja vu. I mean, I felt like I did 12 years ago. I'm excited about this guy. He seems energetic. He seems hopeful. He really reminded me a lot of James Franklin. A lot of the same points came up in his presser.
Well, no doubt. But I think let's take a look at some of the positives here with this, because I wanted to get your thoughts. Now, we did talk a bit about this last week, so I don't want to dwell on it. But Penn State sort of had an interesting process to land him, and it wasn't clean, and we were starting to become the butt of jokes.
Correct.
In the national media.
So we saved that.
We saved that because Matt Campbell, the national media loves him, and they often wondered when he was going to pick his next destination. I mean, he turned down the Detroit Lions, as we know, and there were other schools that came knocking, USC, and there's some retelling of stories there. Did he turn it down, or did they move on? We don't know necessarily. Guy doesn't have an agent. He uses people within that world to finalize these contracts. Definitely seems like a throwback. But, overnight, the image of Penn State football got better because he is a well-liked and respected coach.
And that's fair.
He's going to have better players than he has, because I know you keep mentioning Dan and I talk, text, and fight every day. He keeps mentioning that they had a 4-game slide this year at Iowa State. They did, and they didn't have a great year, but they still went 8-4, something that Iowa State could never have imagined before he got there.
But they were somewhat favorites to be in the Big 12 mix, and it fell apart. And that, to me, is a little bit of a red flag.
Well, and that's fine, although, again, I think let's see what he can do with bigger talent, bigger money. Let's see if he and Pat Kraft can work together and not separately, which I think was sort of part of the problem at the end for James Franklin.
I agree with that.
But, you go back to the leaked audio, too, of Pat Kraft. That kind of backfired. The media actually loved that. And I heard a lot of these national guys say, I was listening to the Audible with Stewie Mandel and Bruce Feldman and Ralph Russo, and they all said, listen, isn't Pat Kraft just talking like a Penn State fan? And I heard you say a lot of that. I'm tired of being second best. If we've got the money and we've got the resources,
tired of being little brother.
I don't want to have this be a reset. This is going to be get your guys and let's run and let's go.
And I just want to say one thing, just to be fair. If he hires the right coordinators, we could make this thing go very quickly.
Well,
but that's the next key step here.
But you also have to get the right players, and right now we're behind in that. But I that's going to be all a part of it. Let's talk about what Penn State can be moving forward, because one of the pieces that he is keeping is Terry Smith, and I think that was integral for not only Pat Kraft to recognize the fact that Terry did do a decent job at keeping this team together. I really thought, because everybody says, well, there's 2 factions to this. Some people wanted him hired, and then I think people like you and me said, well, I mean, we went 6-6. Let's not get carried away.
Right.
But I really didn't think we were going to win another game. I really didn't. I thought the roster and the injuries hurt, and then just the overall mindset was, let's cash it in. We're done.
Sure.
But he got them to win 3 games, got them to bowl eligibility. He's going to have a chance to coach in the Pinstripe Bowl. And he is Penn State, and he's a great recruiter. And for him to stick around says a lot about him. Pat Kraft committed monetarily to him. Matt Campbell knew him from their days in Ohio. And I think this is a good first step. Just thoughts on Terry staying, and then I've got some other questions for you.
Well, I almost feel bad for the man in many ways. He didn't get the job, and now he's second fiddle to an outsider. So I think that's an odd dynamic coming into this. And
he was the second fiddle and assistant head coach is a bigger job than what he had.
Sure, I'll give you that. But I still think it's kind of an odd dynamic that he was in charge of this team, kind of had the role, and now it's not his anymore. So I think that's something to watch as we move forward. And the guys that stay, are they more loyal to Terry than they are to Matt Campbell? Just, again, team dynamics there. How does this all play out? Secondly, I don't know how I would feel if my former boss ripped the recruits away from me that I spent months trying to get to Penn State, and now they're in Blacksburg. So I think it's a mess right now. I mean, I'm just going to be perfectly blunt. I think there's a big mess right now in Happy Valley, and it's going to be a massive cleanup project.
Well, but I think Matt Campbell knew that when he was hired. He saw what was going on. I think Terry knows that. And B, you can be mad at James Franklin or whatever for ripping those recruits away, but that's college football now. I mean, it's going to happen when a coach
that's why
moves.
I just assumed Terry was not coming back. I thought for sure, he'd go to Virginia Tech, go with his kids, go with his former boss.
See, but that's the first thing you were wrong about, and I think that to me is a good thing that they were able to do that.
Yes.
Now let's talk about something else that you're really upset about, and this made Dan angry. I mean, my phone was blowing up. It was hot, and it was Dan texting me that. We learned yesterday that Jim Knowles is out. He is likely to be hired by Tennessee. I don't think that's official yet, but it probably will be soon. And
they go from one former Penn State defensive coach to the next.
Yeah.
Timmy Banks out, bringing Jim Knowles.
To me, I was indifferent about this whole process, and I'll tell you my thoughts, and then you can tell me why you think I'm wrong. But yes, Jim Knowles is a highly regarded defensive coordinator, has a national title with Ohio State. We brought him in. We stole him away. We paid him a lot of money, $3.2 million. But
that's the investment.
And that's the investment, and that's fine. And if we had announced that he was staying and going to work with Matt Campbell, I would have been fine with it for the very reason that, it takes a few years, they say, to get a system in. But the problem with that is...
And I think there was a talent deficiency this time on that side of the ball, too.
Okay, but here's the problem, though, and this is why, and hear me out on this. We're going to have a talent deficiency next year until we get this thing going. It's really going to be the first year again under him with a whole new roster. So I'm not sure it would have been any better. We gave up 36 points to Rutgers. I mean, it was not a good year for Jim Knowles' defense. And so my thought was, listen, if we invested in the guy, he's a great coordinator, and he wants to stay, and Matt Campbell wants to stay, I'm fine with that. But if we say, see you later, I'm indifferent. I mean, again, this is what happens when a new hire comes in everywhere you look. And for those of us that say, hey, Matt Campbell's not a big enough name. Look, LSU hired Brian Kelly, got rid of him 3 years later. That was a huge hire. USC hasn't been happy with Lincoln Riley. He still hasn't made the playoffs. He was a huge name. Maybe Matt Campbell is the guy that can come into Penn State and make us a perennial contender. I don't know that, but I think time will tell. And for those that wanted a big name like a Marcus Freeman, like a Kalen DeBoer, they don't always work out either. And then you look at this defensive coordinator situation, there's still time to go out and get somebody big. And even if it's his guy from Iowa State, which we know is going to be part of the staff, why not him? He's a highly regarded defensive coordinator, as Jimmy Knowles was. And, Jimmy Knowles didn't work out for good old Penn State.
And that's the part I get frustrated with. Good old Penn State. We hire the biggest fish of last offseason. There was laud, there was praise, similar to what's happening right now with Matt Campbell. And then we give the guy a year and say, sorry, no thanks for moving on. I was pretty impressed in some of the biggest games with Jim Knowles, whether it's Oregon or Indiana. We nearly pulled off both games. I think we pull off the Iowa win if we're a little more aggressive on offense. I don't totally blame the defense on that game. So, Rutgers was ugly.
Well, they did let Iowa drive down the field.
No, I agree.
Win. I mean,
but I also think
great.
that's the talent deficiency. I think there was a problem in the secondary, not enough talent. And I also think there was a problem up front. There just wasn't enough consistent pressure. And so then he had to start sending blitzes and leaving the back end exposed.
Well,
so I would rather have Jim Knowles, who just won a national championship game, as the leader of my defense, and someone to help this new hire kind of assimilate to the Big Ten, figure it out, rather than, we'll just bring in the Iowa State guy, and, he's friends with Matt Campbell, and, that's fine.
Right,
whatever.
But, James Franklin just hired his friend.
Well, I think that's a mistake.
Who was the former head coach. And
I think that
you
is
had
a
a lot of
mistake.
problems. But my point is, and you talk about a talent deficiency in the secondary. Whose fault was that? I mean, that was James Franklin's team, and maybe we should have portaled a few guys there. He didn't want to use it. So I think when you look at that, and by the way, I'm being tough on James Franklin, not trying to be. There
were issues with this
I loved
roster,
him,
yeah.
but there were issues there. And my point is, let's give the new guy a chance to see if he can work with Pat Kraft and fix some of these issues, which, by the way, who's going to be left? We have a pinstripe bowl against this man, Dabo Sweetie. A lot of people picked Penn State and Clemson to match up in the postseason in August.
Well, we're in the postseason.
I don't think they meant
one.
the pinstripe bowl. I think they meant in the playoff. Both teams disappointing. Now, Clemson, obviously, Dabo has a lot more runway than James Franklin did because Dabo has 2 national titles, but he's facing similar issues. His roster wasn't great. He can't seem to land on the right coordinator. This is a national championship winning coach, Dan, and I'm going to argue our program and their program are in the same place. Why not give Matt Campbell a chance and let's see what he can do?
I'm happy to give him a chance. I think I know where this is going.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure about that, especially given the fact that
listen, if you want to be 8-4, 7-5, and you're happy with mediocre, I think we got a very nice man to do that.
Well, that is somebody though that again, going 8-4 and 7-5 never happened at Iowa State. I think you're really comparing apples and oranges here, and I think you're being short-sighted.
Well,
I mean, I really do.
I have to see it.
And I have to see it too, but I think the negativity that you spew is so unwarranted now.
I think we need a third opinion here.
Well, let's bring in our engineer, Mr. Shiner.
Hello, boys.
We at least have a coach, which is more than Michigan can say.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
You want to talk about a flip narrative. We were the clowns for a week, and all of a sudden Michigan is free falling, and we'll get into that in just a bit. But Shiner, you've got to be pretty happy with this hire.
You know, at first I was thinking, is this guy just the best of the rest? But if they truly were targeting him early on and some of these reports about they couldn't get a hold of him and all this stuff are true, then yeah, I think it's a good hire. I don't like if this is the settle guy, but I think he's earned this spot. Like we said, he's been up for many a job over the course of the last couple of years and has turned them all down to stay with his crew. And if you guys watched the press conference, this man poured out emotions on the microphone. He gave props to, which I think helped some of the fan base, Joe Paterno and some other people of old in the old regime, if you will, that Franklin was trying to distance himself from, which might have been a good strategic move. But he also lamented about how awesome a guy Terry Smith is. And I think that's, one, what you have to do in this situation, because I believe the reports are true. He is now the highest paid non-coordinator in all of college football.
I believe that's true.
So obviously, I think you had to do that in order to retain the kids that are still at Penn State.
Yeah,
because these guys, they fought for him, for sure.
We'll see if they stay.
But now let's see what Matt can bring in, and as far as a staff and recruits. And you know what? As far as the Jim Knowles thing, I know he's a pedigree defensive coach. I think he got away with a lot at Ohio State because of the talent level he was playing with.
Yeah, look at Matt Patricia.
Exactly.
They haven't lost a step.
Yeah, but they also, I've heard reports about how this is such an elite schemed offense, and if you don't have the elite players to run it, you can get eaten up a little bit. And that's kind of what happened to Penn State.
You mean defense?
Defense, sorry.
Yeah.
I meant defense.
No,
yes.
I just want to make it clear for everybody listening. We're talking about defense, and we're talking
didn't
about
have a sophisticated offense.
No, not at all. And that's a whole other story.
That was another problem. Well, no, I think you and I are in agreement here. And Dan, I'm not saying you're not going to be right or that you're not right to be concerned, but I also think that most of the stuff you're concerned about is really part and parcel of any new coach that comes in, and we're all going to need to see it. But I mean, again, I think the guy deserves a shot, and I think he's one of the best hires of the cycle. But Michigan needs a coach, and this just came down late last night. I mean, it
was like 9:00 in the evening. All of a sudden,
Michigan beat
he's
reporters.
Out.
He's not the coach. He's out. Biff Poggi, who I think should be the head coach. I mean, he
screams Michigan.
You know who I was getting our images together. I needed to get an image of Biff, and I forgot. But this all happened
we'll spare
last
everybody.
night. I don't want to spare everybody. I like looking at that man. Don't clip that, by the way. I don't need that. Don't need that on here every chance we get. But Biff is the man, and now who do they target? And already there's buzz about Kalen DeBoer. And
yeah, it's funny how they could land a big name and we can't.
Well, they haven't landed him yet. I mean, Kalen DeBoer leaving.
There's Biff.
There he is.
Biff.
Yeah, there he is. Give us a shot of that. Yeah,
and he was a hot ticket at Charlotte until he wasn't.
Well, he got fired, but yes, and that was just not for anything impropriety. It was just he lost.
Lack of success.
He was losing, but it's hard to win there. But anyway, the point is, who do they go? Who do they go with?
I think it is going to be a big name. I think it's going to happen fast. I could see sitting head coaches, even playoff ones, jumping at this opportunity.
Depending on the program. Here's the issue, though, and I just read this John U. Bacon, one of the
Yeah,
best reporters.
he's big up there.
I just saw that they really did not confirm all of this until yesterday. I as much as some people are saying they sat on this, they waited. Some of that may be true, but ultimately, I don't think they necessarily wanted to pull the trigger here, and I think it's leaving them a little bit on the scrambling side.
All of a sudden, those kids that signed last week, are going to be rethinking their choices.
They could have a world of problems, and so Kalen DeBoer. I mean, I get it, but Michigan is not necessarily on another tier than Alabama. I just don't see that happening unless the folks in Tuscaloosa really want him out, and I don't see that happening either. Could they target another name in the playoff that's maybe not at a big institution like Alabama? Possibly. We're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out.
Do you rule out Marcus Freeman? I certainly don't.
I think he's trending toward the Giants.
I would rather work at Michigan.
I don't know. Michigan's had their own problems. I mean,
but he would be the high moral ground guy to bring in, make $15 million,
clean house from that organization because Jim Harbaugh did a lot of damage, and I'm tired of hearing about a Michigan man. Can you go out and just hire a man that is not associated with Michigan? Because they had a lot to clean up, and whether or not the Penn State people want to admit to that, they had to go out and hire somebody that was not a Penn State guy, and they hired Franklin, and he turned us around.
That's what I agree with.
Michigan needs to do the same thing right now to clean up its act. All right, let's take a look at the playoff bracket because, or at least the top 25 here. So, the problem here, guys, as we know, is that Notre Dame is out, and you've got teams like James Madison and Tulane in, and that is based upon the rules that all of these folks, including Notre Dame's AD at the time, Jack Swarbrick, had written in. We're getting some interesting matchups, which we will preview here. But when we look at this top 25 rankings, Dan, who do you think can win it all? I mean, is Ohio State going to be Ohio State again? A bad last game and then go in and plow over everybody? Or could I make a suggestion? We just mentioned Kalen DeBoer's name. They have a couple of weeks to get healthy. Remember, they had their running back, I believe, was out against Georgia. They ran for -3 yards, a terrible look. Could Alabama be this year's Ohio State?
Sure. I really like Kirby Smart's team, too. I mean, I think Georgia may be the best team in the country, or 1A and 1B with Ohio State. I still think Ohio State losing that Big Ten championship game is probably the best thing that could have happened to them because now they refocus, and there was some interesting coaching decisions in that game. I just felt like Ryan Day did not play to win necessarily, which is
he's had that issue. He's had that issue with teams like that, including Michigan these last few years, although he finally got over that hump. But Notre Dame throwing a hissy fit, they
should, in my opinion.
Well, but I'll tell you what, it's not coming off great. And now other teams have said
they should be playing in a bowl game. They should absolutely 100% be playing in a bowl game because, to me, they look like sore losers.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Now other conferences are saying we're just not going to put you on the schedule. I think what their AD, Pete Bavacqua, did was it just didn't come off. And now the other thing, Dan, is they're still doing this days later. Have your hissy fit and move on.
Yeah, move on.
It's been 3 days. They should have played in the game. It's still great exposure for a program.
It's still a New Year's Six game. I mean,
now,
how much money are they losing by not going to that game, too? I mean, that's the other part of it.
Yeah, exactly. And
dumb.
Who you sticking it to? ESPN, they're going to be fine. There's still a game. Georgia Tech's playing in it. That's fine. They're and I realize maybe your brand carries more eyeballs, but at the end of the day, I'm with you. I think it's a mistake. And, look, you got left out. Penn State
We've been left out. Yep. I was going to say, we know what that's like.
We know what it's like. There's only room for 12. Now, if you want to have the argument between Notre Dame and Alabama, you can go ahead. I wouldn't have that argument. I would have the argument between Notre Dame and Tulane or Notre Dame and JMU. I don't think we need 2 group of 5 teams in. I'm all about giving everybody a shot because if you don't, then you're open to lawsuits. You're open to monopoly issues. I want these small teams to have a chance.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's nice.
You know who screwed that up? The ACC.
I guess, but I also just feel like you can't have let's go back to the rankings for a second just so we can reference this. You can't have the number 20 team and the number 24 team in against these top 12 teams. I mean, that it just devalues the whole process to me. And I understand you got to find a way to get them into the system. That's fine. But to leave out Notre Dame, and BYU, mind you, too. I think they also
What about Texas?
got short-sighted here. And,
What
and
about
Texas?
Texas?
Yeah,
Texas beat Texas A&M.
And they scheduled a hard schedule, and they got, unfortunately, discredited for it.
So these are the games that you're left with then, and the big one is Friday night here on ABC. Oklahoma taking on Alabama at home.
And this is next week.
This is next week, but this is
That's a fun one.
This is the first round, and Oklahoma 1.5-point favorite. Now this is the Notre Dame Bowl. I mean, it's the two teams that beat Notre Dame that kept them out. Miami goes to Kyle Field. That's the next day here on ABC. Texas A&M is a home favorite, and then the games that ESPN dumped are the games that have these group of 5 teams on. They're going to be on TNT. Tulane goes to Ole Miss. Now, that, by the way, we've already seen that game. It wasn't pretty.
And it's going to be not pretty again.
And James Madison then has to go up to Eugene and take on Dan Lanning.
Good luck with that.
Oregon's a 21-point favorite in that.
By the way, both teams have departing head coaches. So where's the focus level for either squad?
It really, I mean, it's not going to be great. So
I think it's terrible. It's terrible for the sport. This is not what people wanted when we started this playoff system. I'm sorry. It's terrible.
Well, but I do think the games beyond this should be very good.
Yes, after this round, absolutely. But for the amount of money and the amount of attention that goes into these games, to have 2 clunkers like that is just...
Yeah. Well, it'll be expanded next year. They're working on it. 16, here we come. Let's talk about the recap here of last week, because you and I, again, some head-to-heads, and I came out on top. I mean, we are now tight. We both got Texas Tech. They destroyed BYU. Again, that was a rematch we'd already seen. Georgia came through, and I didn't expect Alabama to look that bad, but they did.
Yep. Can't forget it.
Ohio State. This was a shocker to me. It really was.
Well, I think what was mostly shocking was how poorly Julian Sayin played, because he literally just missed guys down the field open.
So I'm going to take somebody like you, and I'm going to ask, because you're one of these ivory tower guys. And you are never willing to give credit, because, and I'm going to tell you this, I have to see it. Ohio State, who we both said, there's no stopping this team. Okay, they're going to win another national title if they.
With that talent, they should.
Indiana can win this tournament.
Well, they just lost a defensive tackle.
I did see that,
which is unfortunate.
But listen, I'm just saying they can win this tournament. They beat Ohio State. They can win this tournament, Dan.
I'm not sure they can. I didn't see enough. They made the throws kind of like they did against Penn State, but the game as a whole, Ohio State had it, and to me, Ohio State lost it.
They're undefeated
more
Dan.
than Indiana won it. I mean, let's face it, the Ohio State kicker was abysmal, which makes absolutely no sense.
We've seen that in Nick Saban
know.
games too. But
now from here on out, I just wonder if Ryan Day just goes for it.
Okay, but one of the best coaches in this 12-team playoff is Kirk Cignetti. I mean, never count him out. Never count him out. I just think everybody needs to admit that certainly they can beat. Well, okay, they are going to get the winner of the Alabama and Oklahoma game. They can win that game. I mean, Alabama and Oklahoma are not as good as Ohio State. I mean,
I don't think so. I would pick against them.
Well, okay. I
would pick against them. Sorry. Mendoza only has so much magic.
I can't convince him, folks. He's still in his ivory tower. I've done my best. But the good news for me is
we almost beat him in Beaver Stadium, and we probably should have beat him.
Yeah, but we didn't because of Jim Knowles' defense. So, see ya. Pack your bags, buddy.
Circus catch in the back of the end zone. I'll take my chances.
All right, let's get back to the picks here. This is fun, isn't it? My Steelers did it, and your Ravens did show up. I knew I had a feeling. I told you never count Tomlin out in these types of games.
I think most of Pittsburgh did, though.
Well, they've counted him out every year. I don't go by those fans. We know some of them.
Yeah,
we
do.
They're not so. But he came through for me, and then the Packers too. I'm telling you. Watch out for this team. You keep wanting to ignore me on this, and I'm telling you, the Packers are hot.
The Bears were hot though too, and
the Bears though they're. Let me tell you something.
They're tryhards.
They're what you think Indiana is. They're fool's gold.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know they're playing very, very physical up front and pushing people around.
You know what? You know who actually might be fool's gold? The Eagles.
Yep.
I mean, you were right on that one. Are they done? Because we're not going to talk about them a lot, but
I don't think they're done. But I think unfortunately this season to me boils down to listening too much to the media and to the outsiders, and it's cooked the offensive confidence right now. I I cannot believe it. The defense played lights out in the second half, and they still managed to lose the game.
It was brutal to watch. Those turnovers, awful. Back to the picks. Let's go with Jimmy Madison let me down. They certainly didn't dominate
Good
that
teams
game.
cover, I've heard someone say before on this podcast.
Yeah, and like I said, let the slaughter begin up in Eugene. But finally, look at my best bets, baby.
Yeah, look at you.
Lions, -3. Check. Under 66 and a
That
half.
North Texas game, you got it under.
Check. And my boys from Kennesaw State
Kennesaw
did it.
State's having a fantastic year.
And finally, this is what made the difference. I'm off the schneid. Now you're on one. Look
Yep.
at your picks.
Yep,
Rough.
I'm in a losing streak, just like the Eagles and Nick Sirianni. North Texas did not cover. UNLV did not cover, and the Colts. Now that one at least
They have some excuses.
Yeah,
but
Daniel Jones blew a tire, so. That's a team I think that's in a world of hurt. I mean, to sign Phillip Rivers at 44 years old, you're in some trouble.
I don't think we are picking this game. Did you see the line on that game? The Colts are taking on the Seahawks, I believe.
What was it? 2 scores?
13.5.
Ooh.
I'm
Ugly.
pretty sure. I'm going to look that up because
Well,
I
the
don't
Colts
want to.
were a nice story. Hey, listen, Shane Steichen.
Shiner,
there's
give
going to
me
be
that
an
line.
There's going to be an OC job open in Philadelphia and at Penn State. Shane Steichen, come on down, my friend. You know how to call a game.
Oh, we'll take you. Shiner, you look that up, but we are going to hold on a second. Well, Shiner looks it up. Playoff picture, the Birds are still sitting right there.
They're right there.
Thanks to the Cowboys losing.
Right. And, again, it's not over. And, the panic in Philadelphia has just gotten to a high level of annoyance. People want to yank Jalen Hurts out of the starting spot. This man just won a Super Bowl and was dominant in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. I tune that out. That's what
bull
that
bunky.
is. That's bull. Line, Shiner?
You are correct. 13 and a half.
Man,
I mean, I was
That's a
shocked.
lot.
I was shocked because this is a team, and everybody's worried about the Eagles. The Colts were the team.
And hot start, not a hot finish.
All right, it is time, I believe, right now to pick our games.
Well, we need overall record. What's the final tally?
Sorry.
This
Okay,
is important.
This is important. Steak dinner on the line. 74 and 78.
You've narrowed the gap.
I'm clawing back to 500, and I'm one back.
Yep.
And I was like 6 or 7 back a couple of weeks ago. Now, just to let you know, we're only picking 5 games. We've got our games of the week.
We do.
And then we're each picking 2 best bets because now college is over. We'll pick the playoff games. But
There's
we have
a little
break.
bit of weather to talk about.
We have a break this week. Let's get to our games of the week.
Games of the week.
All right, run through them quick for us here, Danny, because you picked these out, and some good ones on the slate this week, no
Bills
doubt.
Patriots is a lot of fun, and this is going to be the weather game of the week. We'll get into in a little bit. Bills slight favorites, even though the Patriots seem to have their number as of late. And I just think the Bills are another team that's kind of floundering a little bit here and there. The Chiefs, speaking of floundering, but they are favored against the Chargers that have a one-handed quarterback.
Pretty big number, though. I mean, you saw what the Chargers just did to the Eagles. I mean, that surprises me.
You had Harbaugh calling option plays in the second half to try to get down the field against the Eagles. So I think they saw the lack of an actual offense with the Chargers.
And the Lions continue to be this hot and cold team,
Yeah.
but the Rams are at home.
The
They're
Rams
favored
are
by
now
6.
probably the hottest team in the NFC and sitting in the driver's seat. But here's the weather factor, my friend, because we have a disturbance coming in from the plains. So Saturday would have been a very interesting day for any football games in the north, but we don't have any. That snow then wraps around into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast here in central Pennsylvania. We can expect some snow showers. I also expect snow showers in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Take a look. Right during game time, this pivoting area of snow right overhead. This could be a lot of fun because the system kind of gets cranking over them.
Yes, it does. And look at the temperature, too. You factor in, there's always, I don't like what the model does here. I think it's going to be a little breezier than
gustier,
this.
Yeah.
So windy with some snow coming down in Foxborough during a pivotal divisional game. I mean,
what more could you want? This is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. It really, really is. Let's pick these games here. This is one that we differ on. I think the Bills can do it. They're used to this weather. They're not going to have any problems. I like what Mike Vrabel's done, but I think the Bills need to assert their dominance here.
I'm just not sure they are dominant this year. I think their offense is lacking a bit. Their defense also gives up a lot of points.
We both like Andy Reid, despite the fact that I'm questioning the line. I'm going to pick them to cover at home and against the limp Chargers.
Yeah, I watched too much of that Chargers game not to have it in my head on Monday night, so I'm picking against them.
This is one that I think Dan Campbell could actually win this game, but he's got to go to L.A., and right now I'm not picking against the Rams at all. and I don't think you are either.
No, I think right now they're the team to beat in the NFC.
All right, let's go to my best bets right now.
Under the radar.
Shiner's
bad.
got no.
I jumped.
That's okay. He jumped. Just play it over me. We'll talk. Play the other one because there are no under the radar games this week. Every NFL game, right? It's big. And cue this. There it is. I was going to say
Time now for Brett's best.
cue the clown music. We got it. And
And that second game might be some clowns.
yeah, but listen, the Packers and the Broncos, big game here because the Packers are hot. The Broncos might win the AFC.
14-game winning streak potentially here of the Broncos going in. This is their hardest game left, I do think.
It is, and of course it's in Denver, but you know how I feel about my Packers.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you see in them.
Well, I see a team that's winning.
I would pick the Broncos here. I would.
Dolphins, Steelers. This seems a little too easy, which is probably why I'll be wrong.
Well, and the Dolphins have played better.
They're 6-7
Yeah.
all of a sudden. Look out! But the Steelers are at home. It's going to be cold. It's going to be really cold, and it's going to be windy on Monday night.
And the Steelers keep fluctuating. They're up, they're down, they're up, they're down.
But they're favored here on ABC. Joe and Troy Monday night. I think you know where I'm going to lean. You're up, baby.
I'm up. Here are the Dandies, my friend. And, the whole slate of the NFL,
Dollar Dandies.
pretty decent this week.
Pretty decent, yeah.
This is a big game for the Ravens. And I picked this because of the regionality factor. I know we have Ravens fans that listen.
And a divisional game. I mean, perfect.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, I thought, had a chance to kind of bring the Bengals back into the playoff picture a little bit. They are sliding. This is a must-have game for the Ravens. Have to win it. Speaking of must-have games, Cowboys, 5.5-point favorites against the Vikings. They have more player drama going on there. You have Pickens not wanting to run routes. I mean,
By the
does it
way,
ever end?
You talk about, gosh, I didn't want to be Penn State for about a week, okay? And now Michigan, lucky us, continues to be just a mismanaged program.
Yep.
Don't really want to be the Eagles right now, but then when you look at what's going on with the Cowboys, this is a prime example, okay? The Cowboys are 5.5-point favorites at home against a fledgling Vikings team. They
That's
still
a
have
good way to put it.
They still have a chance to win the NFC East, right? This is a game that the Cowboys should come out and not even think twice about. And I just
We know what happens.
the Vikings, right? We know what happens. They're going to win this game somehow. Jerry's going to be upset. Cowboys fans are going to be irate, but they just can't stay out of the drama. Right. So let's go to our final picks and reveal.
You read my mind exactly where that was going.
I can't wait to see what you pick. Cue us up.
Final picks.
All right, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there. So
No.
You start, but I think we didn't talk about that. We think alike.
It was exactly my line of thinking. So I'm taking the Patriots at home in the snow. I'm taking the Chiefs as big favorites. Same with the Rams. I'm also going favorites with the Ravens because it's a must-have. They're done, I think, if they lose this game. And the same goes with the Cowboys. It's time to do it, Jerry Jones. It's time to do it.
But I didn't read your mind. I thought you were going to pick the Vikings to at least cover.
I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think it's going to be a nail-biter.
Okay, but now you got to root for the Cowboys.
I know. I almost think a little pressure from the Cowboys might help the Eagles, push them a little bit.
Maybe you're right about that. My picks are a little different. I am picking the Bills to cover. I think they get it done. They want this division. They certainly have an opportunity to win it. And without the Chiefs being a threat anymore, at least not right now, the Bills really want to assert themselves as favorites in the AFC, even though I would assume it's the Broncos right now. I'm going with the Chiefs and the Rams like you. And then my best bets, believe it or not, I also am picking against the Packers. I am going with the Broncos and then the Steelers -3.5. So there you go. Those are our picks. Now, listen, this is normally where we would wrap up, but we do have some other things to talk about. It's one of the best times of the year if you follow Major League Baseball.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And as Phillies fans, all of us do this. Hold off on bringing in Shiner, though. I'm going to bring him in at the end. I just want you to talk about this guy right here. The Phillies did it, and they signed him to a long-term deal. Now, had they done this in the spring, they probably would have saved themselves a lot of money. I had read that it was very important to Kyle Schwarber to get a longer-term deal. He got a 5-year, and he got $150 million. He played his way into that with his 50-plus bombs. This was a fait accompli, right? I mean, this was not a surprise.
This is the leader of the Philadelphia Phillies in the clubhouse. And on the flip side of this, if you look at the New York Mets, they just lost Pete Alonso.
Oh, hold on. Don't go there yet.
Okay, I was just going to say, though, this is the opposite effect.
Yes.
We kept the guy that everybody wanted. We kept
We're
the
a well-run
lifeblood of the team.
organization.
And
yes.
some of the behind-the-scenes things that John Middleton went to Kyle Schwarber's house to sit with him and his family at the end of the season, and how much that meant to Kyle Schwarber. Again, it's that
It matters.
personal touch. We want you. The fans want you. And sure, you can point to his playoff misgivings, and I often do. But the fact of the matter is, you don't win 96 games without a Kyle Schwarber.
A lot of bosses, a lot of owners could learn from that. I don't care if you're a $150 million baseball player or if you're, a line cook. It matters to hear from your boss.
Yeah, and I would have been okay if they would have moved on and reallocated the money into a few other stars, because I didn't think they were going to rebuild. But I understand why you keep them. I 100% get it.
What's next?
Well, it seems like JT's the next chip to fall, and then I think things are going to get creative. I think it's going to be fun. I really think the mix is going to be different moving into next year. I think there's a very high likelihood Alec Boehm is moved. There's definitely a higher likelihood that Nick Castellanos is not on the team, whether they give him away or they get a little something back for him. And then, I don't know. I think they could be opportunistic with a Bregman type of signing. I think they could go big in the bullpen. There's still some big bullpen arms out there. Dave Dombrowski's not done, and the criticism right now that they're running it back, everybody calm down. It's December.
Well, and
there's a long offseason yet to go, and I think there could be a lot of moves made.
Well, and again, running it back. Listen, you have to keep your star players. I mean, that is part of it.
He just hit over 50 home runs for you.
When we say running it back, here's what I'm talking about. We know we have to reshape the outfield. Now, two things there. There is a debate going on about Alec Boehm. Some people, and I know he's not in the outfield, but you talk about running it back. But some people think we'd be crazy to cut him, and other people are saying it's long overdue. I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I just think he can't be your number 4 hitter. They need some more. They need more thump. I mean, if you have someone hitting behind Harper that is like a Pete Alonso type or whatever, then all of a sudden you have to pitch to Bryce Harper.
I also read that we're starting to get priced out of Harrison Bader.
And that's fine, because we have a young guy in Justin Crawford ready to come up. There's other trade targets. There's been links to the Colorado Rockies outfielder. There's been links to, I believe, some free agents as well. So Brenton Doyle's the name I was trying to think of with the Rockies. So I don't think we're anywhere close to being settled yet.
Yeah, and again, I don't think we're running everything back. But, yeah, you're going to have Schwarber. You're going to have Harper. Who else? JT would be good. I think that's a good thing because our pitchers need that. We're running back the same pitching staff. That's all,
Give
again,
me
all a
JT
part of
catching
this.
Zach Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez any
Come on,
day.
we need these big names, and Schwarber's a big part of it. Okay, let's bring in Shiner, and let's show this image, because too many times we bring in Shiner to praise our teams, and that's fine, but the Mets had a tough day yesterday. It was maybe as bad as Michigan fans had. Everybody, it's a fire sale again, and they're cutting their favorite players, and Frank the Tank is melding down, and we have a
This is
Mets
one I can't
fan here.
defend.
Pete Alonso is gone, and this was their Kyle Schwarber. This was a guy, not even because he was a homegrown guy. And so the Orioles have him, and Pete wanted a similar deal. He wanted that long-term commitment. The Mets said, no way. Nimmo's gone. And who's the other one? Diaz.
Edwin Diaz signing with the Dodgers. Again, insult to injury. You don't go back with the Mets, but you sign with the world champs.
Okay, guys, real quick, because we're almost out of time. But there's two ways to look at this. One is LOL Mets, and here we go, and the fans are irate and all of this.
Our boss will want to hear that.
But you know what? There's another way to look at it. And at the end of the day, as much as this core group was good, and the Phillies fans know this too, they didn't win enough.
Yeah, they didn't win.
They didn't win enough.
Yep.
So does Steve Cohen and David Stearns, are they going to answer that? They're trying to win baseball games, much like we are in Center City, Philadelphia. Guys, smart, dumb, are the fans right to be upset, or is this going to lead to a better New York Mets? Shiner?
Well, I think that the biggest part you need to look at here is, and not to bring it back to Schwarber again, but there were multiple teams offering similar packages. I believe the Orioles, the Pirates both, and Schwarber decided to stay.
And by the way, he also looked at the Reds. They couldn't offer him much money, but that's his hometown team, and they tried to lure him.
But the point is, the money was offered from different places, and he decided to stay. Alonso, that did not happen.
No.
And that shows, I think, the culture of this Mets team, although they might be in the thorn in the side of the Phillies here and there.
Let them be.
Guys just don't want to stick there anymore. And you know what? Good for Alonso. He's a big bat. He'll be somewhere else, and I don't have to hate him anymore.
I think it's fun for the Orioles too. I mean, I know there's regional ties here. A lot of Orioles fans. I think this is exciting for you.
But should the Mets have been blown up like this? I mean,
Absolutely.
But
they should have been blown up from the perspective of they need better starting pitching. But getting rid of Pete Alonso, that makes no sense.
You take the one thing away that was actually working for you all year, you know?
I
mean, it couldn't happen to a better franchise.
Right,
I know. Just between this and the Michigan news,
it's like a party, you know?
I know. Because
there's hope in the world.
There is. And by the way, the Eagles still are going to get criticized and they're laughing stock. But you know what? We lead the NFC, so everybody can shut up about it.
I need to roll for weather, so why don't you roll us out?
We're going to. Yes, it is time. And you know where to find us. You can always email us, weatherwagers@gmail.com. There's all of our social media. Please interact with us. We want to hear from you, whether you love our takes or whether you hate them. And we are going to roll on out of here. We'll see you next week as the playoffs begin. Good luck, Dan, with your NFL picks.
Appreciate it.
Shiner, thanks so much. Weather Wagers out.